Let's talk about Winston. Let's talk about tanks. Should be fun. Welcome to Overwatch, and welcome to another episode of not Pro of the Many, Coaching the Many. Pro of the Many is tomorrow. Interesting, good plot though. Yeah, Pro of the Many is tomorrow. Coaching the Many is now, and we're doing it earlier than usual, so if you are a bit confused, if you're watching live and you're like, hey, wait a minute, this is like 8 o'clock, why are you doing it now? I actually want to try and do these at around 7:30 when possible on Saturdays, because the Overwatch League eats into my time. Like, it eats into the early sort of Saturday, and that's really frustrating for me, because I don't want to stream at the same time. Overwatch League is on because like half my viewership goes away. I will stream in first, you know, Overwatch League. So yeah, so right, okay. Aside from this, what we want to be doing is talking about Winston, talking about tanking, talking about Nepal as well. Should be interesting, should be good. I haven't actually seen this game, so it could be a cluster 11. I don't know. I really don't know, because you know I've been busy all day, so like I'm sort of flying by the seat of my pants here. But it's normally a good sign. Like we normally have good sessions when we do that. So we'll see how that goes. I'm gonna drag the chat over here very quickly because it's also my OBS preview, and I want it over on this side. Let's go. Let's clear this out. So we are joined today by a beautiful subscriber, Numberson, who says in his email, I believe, that he wants to get better. So he finally got away from the border between gold and silver. Thanks for that, by the way. You're most welcome. It's all you. I always say it. I'll say it every time. It's all you. It's always you. Traditionally, I'm more of a support player, but I find myself playing more and more tank, especially Winston. Hey, thank you for all the bits.
Hello, YouTube. How you doing?
How you doing? How you doing, YouTube? Right. But I find myself playing more and more tank, especially Winston this season due to the lack of main tank and Reinhardt not fitting the team 90% of the time. My aiming isn't great. Not really confident in my Orisa play, to be honest. Being fair, aiming is a limited part of Orisa. Does come in, like, is a factor. I'm not going to lie and say it's not. Oops. Come on, this should be locked. I shouldn't be able to see the binding box for that. There we go. Right. Yeah, like, we can talk about Arita later. Anyway, I'm not really sure of what we could have done to win this one, including picking another main tank. I'm also ending up in most of my games trying to do call-out, mostly where is who and if they're low, or lacking big defensive cooldowns. I know on this one it's barely possible to hear me, but if you could comment on those, it would help a lot, because I don't get a lot of responses on the quality from my teammates. Just sometimes things die that I want to be focused, but I don't really know if it's because of my calling or because of random luck. My gut instinct says it's gold, it's probably random luck. But it's a good habit to get into. One of my worst aspects personally is like I don't do enough callouts myself. When was this? I think it was recorded. It was sent in, I think, on the 14th or 16th rather. So around the 16th. Excuse me. So yeah, like we will see. So it should be around then. I believe that is still on current patch. It all blurs together. Like PTR came out and everyone's confused, myself more than anyone else. Right. As always, again, like let's talk team comps. Looks like this team comp's relatively unchanging. Sorry, I wanted to focus on that for a moment or two. Interesting team comp, but not too unintuitive. Normally on Koth you would see a Lucio, but not the big, like not the end of the world not to have one, especially at this level of play. As long as like everyone is comfortable on their heroes and you have a basic like 2-2-2 framework, which you kind of have. You know, you got Winston, Diva, you have 2 DPS, and you have 2 supports. And I count that at this point. I count that as a win, because my God, Overwatch can be frustrating at times, to say the least. Okay. We've got a good start. The next thing we should be doing after looking at our team competing is it sane? Yes, it's sane enough. It's not the most synergistic in the world, but it kind of functions. How is this going to play? Well, like you and Genji definitely want to be diving in. You can play somewhat aggressively with the Diva. The only concern I have is that this McCree is a bit of a sore thumb. He's going to be just sort of left hanging out on his own. You could, in theory, just try and play, like, around the McCree, but in this level of play, I would not recommend it. If you're in, like, Grandmaster, then sure. If you have, like, a McCree who's, like, 300 hours on McCree and is amazing, like, all your team can literally just play creating space for the McCree, and then you can actually win off the back of that. But here, no dice. Healing, you've got a lot of healing, so you can actually play relatively aggressively, just due to the fact that you have this combo of Mercy Moira, of Moisey. Very, very high amounts of healing out of that. So that will let you play a little bit more aggro. So we do have those options available to us. Now then, this is Nepal Sanctum. So we want to be thinking about the left side. We want to be thinking about how aggressive do we want to go in on the first push. We don't have a Lucio, so honestly we might want to be a little bit timid on sort of just poking out, seeing what they have. So it looks like they get there first. They have a Reaper. Okay, this means we want to be really timid. Well, okay, guys, if you're playing Moira, I want to mention that Moira is not a tank. So when you see like their team running onto the point, as Reinhardt and Reaper, like, you don't fade into their team, into their Lucio. You've used your only defensive cooldown, and then get booped into the pit straight away, leaving your team completely screwed. That's not good. That's really not good. Let's bring her up. Ooh, it's Moira. She's back from the grave. Ooh, no, she's behind the UI. There she is. Don't be this person. Okay, guys? There was a very good question asked at the end of yesterday's coaching session that was like, I play Lucio and I sometimes end up in the enemy team, right? I play Lucio and I end up, you know, sometimes I'm like first on point. What do? How do I do that? How do I not do that, rather? Not how do I do that. How do you do that? It's pretty easy. The way you do it is you just calm the frig down. Like, that's all you need to do is calm the frig down and just let your tanks lead. There's no benefit to Moira going, yeah, I'll take them all on. She rolls up the sleeves. Screw you guys. I'll take you. Like, she's clearly that Irish blood is, you know, is surging. But yeah, not ideal. This puts us in a very difficult situation. So we should absolutely be doing what we're kind of doing at the moment, which is trying to pick off the vulnerable stuff. This is a very difficult team for us to play against, what we've noticed so far. Like, if we think about what we've seen so far, we've seen Reaper, Reinhardt, Roadhog, and Doomfist. This is not going to be fun for us. I will spoil that for you now. We'll definitely be looking for isolated targets. Like, honestly, at this point, you are looking for kills, and I know that sounds unintuitive, but they have the control of the point. You just want to capitalize on stuff being over-aggressive, like these guys have done, the Doomfist going too deep, punished, killed. Okay, now we can actually think about contesting this point. Want to be careful when doing it. The big thing we want to keep in mind is just where this Reaper is, and just trying to avoid being around that Reaper. So when that Reaper appears, we want to just jump away. We're fine. Don't panic. Good stuff. Key thing there is just don't panic. Do not panic. You know, no fear, right? I'm okay-ish with our positioning here because we saw the not the Doomfist, the Reaper go in. Let's change this to blue. I think blue will stand out best. Kind of. Sort of blends with the lightning, but it's good enough. Because the Reaper went into the building here. So we are okay to sort of be over here. I would actually be a little bit happy with us more outwards and like more sort of towards the middle here. It just means that we're in closer range of our supports. So it's a little bit nicer in that regard and not as close to this door. Because what I'm scared of is the Reaper coming around and then coming out and just blowing us up. Like, the Reaper is scary. You want to be very, very cognizant of that because he can kind of three-shot us. And we don't want to be near him when he wants to do that. So we want to sort of land in a position where the Reaper's going to have to take 6 seconds to get to us, because if he does, then we just jump out and we're fine. Okay? Okay. Good. And yeah, in this situation, very nicely done. Right, we get boot. No biggie. Just do some damage. Oh, we're hooked. Just turn, face the thing. Nice. Good job. Well, like if in this game, I would have been psychoanalyzing the picks in the spawn. Moira's picking Moira in comp, which is not going to be great at healing. Probably means she doesn't really plan on focusing healing. A lot of people pick Moira just because she is effective. Like, I don't get too deep into the idea of, you know, oh, she's picking Moira in a comp that's going to be relatively spread out, so she won't be able to heal stuff. Because a lot of people just pick Moira because people pick Moira at the moment. Like, if you go to Overbuff, a wonderful website that will give you info on the meta, I regularly on Coaching the Many reference this. Moira is just picked. Like, people just pick Moira. And it's not even, like, out of, you know, win rate, because, hey, you can see her win rate is actually 51%. It's not... It's good, don't get me wrong. It's pretty damn solid. But, hey, look, D.Va. D.Va is more of a must-pick, right? But people don't zoom in on D.Va quite as much for some reason. It's one of those things. Zen, 53%, you know? But people just gravitate because Moira, like, oh, you gotta have a Moira. Pick Moira, guys. Yeah. So don't, like, over-focus on the idea of, oh, they're picking Moira just because they want to do DPS. It's more they're probably just picking Moira because they know that Moira is a good support, so they're going to pick Moira. And then they're just going to play Moira badly because they don't know how to play Moira. Like, that's how I would break it down. I would assume ignorance rather than malicious intent, if that makes sense. Moira is fun. It also helps that Moira is fun. Yes, she is quite a fun hero to play. I like the patience. We are on half hit points. We should be getting healed up here. This is fine. The one concern I have is that as things start to spiral out of control, like as we start getting healed up, we should be actually putting pressure. Okay, we want to be playing a little bit more aggro, so we do good by just waiting and getting healed up. Okay, we've done well, rather. Superman does good. We do well. Right. So yeah, so let's go up here now and like start causing problems up here. Like, now that you have 500 hit points, you have your jump. You can actually afford to just play a little bit more in this Reinhardt's face. If he wants to try anything, you can just hop over this wall. It's perfectly safe. You can just hop away and you're okay. Even if the Roadhog hooks you, you have a D.Va to cover you as well. So like there's options here where we can actually just Start pressuring out, and when you notice that, oh look, the Roadhog's over here, you can honestly just go even more aggressive on this. Being honest. Roadhog just wants those hooks. Exactly the same again. Watch out for the Reaper. Beautifully done with the bubble. Absolutely correct. Just keep throwing them down. We made a slight positional error there. Let's talk about this. So this moment is scary, right? We've been anti-healed, and now we're taking, like, we could be taking quite a lot of damage. But the reality is this: we've been hit with the anti-heal grenade, but we're not actually taking much damage. But what we're doing when we're stood here is, if you think about the Ana trying to heal Reinhardt, and you think about like the line of sight behind us, that's tough. Like, this is a tough position for the Ana to heal, right? This is why Ana doesn't get picked, because there's a great big gorilla sort of going, hi there. You know, he's in the way. He's going to be causing problems. So he can't actually... So by staying here, you're actually making it easier to kill the Reinhardt. Now, luckily, the Genji just goes to kill Tiana anyway, but it's something to keep in mind that don't panic just because you're anti-healed until you get down to about half, and then you might jump out. You need to update the stream title? I think I did, didn't I? It should be updated. Refresh if you haven't. Yeah, it's updated. Gold Winston. Refresh. Hit refresh. Make sure it's you first, not me. Because otherwise it scares me. Is the low FPS caused by Josh's low internet speed? Yes, it is. It's streaming at 30 frames per second. I have dropped frames. I have actually dropped some frames again. My bandwidth is going a bit crazy at the moment. Hopefully that should be okay. Let me know if it does start to cause issues. You just to sort of wait it out. So yeah, some drop frames happened a minute ago. It's always annoying. This looks good. Just go follow up on the Doomfist. Let's just try and bounce this Reinhardt. Get away from the Reaper. Don't engage the Reaper. You never want to be engaging the Reaper. Even like this guy's kind of a bad idea. Luckily, he just sort of started meleeing us instead of reloading and killing us. Okay, we're going to need to talk about this fight. You're going to need to talk about this fight. So it starts off great because we pressure out the Ana, and that's like an amazing position. And like they start engaging. It feels more like 10 to 15 FPS over here. Yeah, my bit rate is bouncing all over the place. I think my brother might be downloading something or something. I don't know. It should be okay. It should be okay at the moment. We'll see. Let me know if it keeps having that problem, because what I'm looking at... So guys, like, oh, recursion. Beautiful recursion. Ah, ah. What I'm looking at is this, and it's like, oh, drop frames. And like the bandwidth thing, which is over here, is like bouncing between 2K and 5K, and like that isn't correct. So it feels like the like my upload is just going crazy at the moment. Really shouldn't be. Come on. Come on. Sort yourself out. It's been fine so far. It's been a fine all night, and now it starts messing up. Should be stabilizing. Looks like it's stabilizing. Might not be stabilizing. Still dropping frames. Ugh. Whatever. Hopefully it's still viewable, ideally. I don't want to pause too long and just waiting for this to solve itself, because that's all I can really realistically do. Right, the biggest issue I have is that we don't follow this Doomfist enough. Right, he meteor strikes. Okay, fair enough. But like, pressure. Okay, now he meteor strikes. Okay, now just bully the Reinhardt a bit. But honestly, we don't have to go crazy here. Like, we don't have to... Don't think in terms of, oh, I'm playing Winston, I have to, like, do huge things with this ultimate. You can honestly just go and be annoying. Like, continuing to annoy the Reinhardt would have been fine here. The Roadhog's a bit of a risk. Luckily, like, he thinks that melee comboing us is a good idea. It isn't. He should just empty his clip, reload, and empty his clip again. Unfortunately, a spicy turnaround from the Reinhardt. I can hear us. We're making a call out of don't go in. It's kind of correct, but like if they're stalling, like the correct call out here, rather than it's kind of ruffled through StarCraft. Okay, it might be my brother. He's got a friend over, and like I think they're watching something on high res. So, right. Anyway, okay. The correct call out here isn't actually don't go in. The correct call out is don't use ults is more correct. Why is don't use ults more correct? Because stalling toward to bring this up towards 99% is ideal, but doing it in a way where you don't lose resources while doing so is the absolute pinnacle. Like that's what you want. That's what you really want. So yeah. It's still telling me it's dropping frames. I wish I knew why. I might need to restart the stream. But I don't want to because it will break the VOD like crazy. So don't be afraid to... Okay, now we want to back off. Back away, back out, back out, back out. We don't even... No. This is bad. This is bad, 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 bad. So you hear me talk about this a lot in terms of think about the fight. Once this point is flipped, the amount of benefit we get from going aggro is minimized dramatically. I've also noticed the webcam's fucking up slightly. When it rains, it pours, ladies and gents. When it rains, it pours. I'm having 70 megabit fighter. I have 100 down. And it should be 10 up, but no, it should actually be more than... Yeah, no, it should be 10 up, but it frequently isn't. Because Virgin Media are shit. That's literally why. Okay, that's worse. That's slightly better. If I up the color intensity, does that look better? Yeah, that's better. Should be nicer. That should be a bit nicer. Yeah, that looks good. But yeah, and when I talk about the fight, like this is a good example of the fight. The fight is over, okay? They have just scooped up a bunch of kills. You are going to be waiting for the diva to respawn. If you engage here, you are engaging into a deficiency. You're engaging into, you know, you've already had a bad fight where you've lost. Okay, regroup, get back to 6, go in on full strength, use your ults, play from there. By just trying to extend this fight longer, like, what realistically are we going to do to this Roadhog? Nothing. Like, probably nothing. So we want to be very careful about doing stuff like that. We want to make sure that we're not over-engaging at moments like this, where we're leaving ourselves vulnerable, because if this Roadhog hooks us and just starts laying into us, then we could die. It's very, very risky. So we want to be very careful with that. Okay, Doomfist with a bit of a booperino. Just follow up, kill him. Good. Okay, take your time. Just kill it, like, focus down on this Reinhardt. Just keep pressuring this Reinhardt. There's no rush. No rush, no rush, no rush. Now there's a rush. Just keep pressuring the Reinhardt. Literally all we have to do. Okay, now stay the hell away from that Reaper. A brave choice. Not the one I would have made. So, let's see. So, let's talk about, like, this decision point here. So, we're correct in just pressuring this Reinhardt down. We make this Reinhardt miserable. Now then, the Reaper's just come in here. That's scary. Let's get away from the Reaper. And, oh, look, there's a whole hog in Winston. Winston, there's a whole hog in a whole hog Roadhog. Beautiful. Clear as mud. There's a whole hog in Roadhog, okay? He's causing problems, he's doing damage. We don't want to be over there. We can't actually see his hit points either. We don't know that he's super low. No one's calling out that he's low. But if you look very closely... Oh, look. The elusive Lucio pokes his nose out of his hole and says, boop, and says, can't stop, won't stop, and says, that's how you get tinnitus. Like, that, you know, this, kill this, right? This works out because luckily the Roadhog is on like 10 hit points, and so we just kill him, which is nice. But more realistic of a situation is you jump and then the whole hog just like looks up and you get launched to the goddamn moon. You team rocket into orbit, right? Killing the Lucio there would be quite nice. Just be very careful about jumping at Roadhogs. I'm very worried about our back, yes. For good reason as well. Okay. Let's think about what's going on around us when we do something like this. So, again, when there is a Reaper on the field, we keep the Reaper in mind. We absolutely keep the Reaper 100% in mind. Reaper is down here, by the way. He's behind our gun. It's huge. It takes up half the screen. I know it's Blizzard's visual design. But yeah, there is a Reaper. You just take my word for it. Reaper is down here, okay? We give a shit about this. We care about this. This is a big friggin' deal. This is a really, really, really big issue. Okay. Because what it means is that when we engage... Notice that the Reaper, like, to get away from the bomb, ducked in behind me. Like, literally behind where I am, down into this little corner. Reaper is literally behind us. We should be scared of that. We absolutely have to respect that. And we are quite lucky that the Reaper doesn't seem to notice. There he is again. There he is. You see? He's elusive, but he's been there the entire time. We are quite lucky that he doesn't pay any attention to us. Because if he did, we'd be dead. Okay. No. Why? Why would you do this? Okay. The ult here is a little bit optimistic, but I can see what we're going for. It's like, okay, well, if we can knock her into the pit and we can maybe knock Lucio into the pit, like, we win. You know, that would be really cool. And then their Reaper goes, nope, I'm going to press Q. And for some reason, D.Va is defense matrixing us. So yeah. So Reaper ends up getting himself a triple kill. Okay, we bounce the Reaper away and we, like, finish him off. Okay, great. We're on 400 hit points. Everyone on our team is dead. You can see, hello, like, this is a dead person, and this is a dead person, and this is a dead person. That was 3 for 1. We care about that. You know, we have to respect that fact that, you know, that matters. So yeah, we can't be going in here, and you can see, like, the D.Va's backed away. That's the correct decision. Just back out, regroup. You've got time. You have coalescence. Great. It's a little bit of light bullion. Keep your eye out for this Doomfist. So, audio cues. Listen very carefully. I'm going to turn the volume up for you guys. I heard a Doomfist punching. Like, we want to just keep an eye out for that, because the annoying part is, like, half our team's gone this way, half our team's gone this way. That's never good. I would just take a moment just to look for where this Doomfist is. Like, we want to know where he is. If you can find him, then that would be great. Looks like team's regrouped. The Rhino's probably dropped down to the low ground. Oh, hey, a Lucio. Just be very careful about that Reaper. It's just around the corner. This is a good position for him. Okay, now's the time. Nice. Got the barrier. Bounce away, bounce away. This is partially on the D.Va, partially on, like, I think that Reinhardt that we were hunting for ages was really sneaky beaky like, and, like, went huge. So I think he comes down here and just earth shatters. Yeah, he just earth shatters your entire team. I'm gonna be brutally honest with you. This is not your fault. I would, if I had to put this on anyone, I would put this on, like, either D.Va or McCree, or the Mercy. Valkyrie would have been nice here as well. The big thing to me is at this point, especially after the Deadeye, like, this is one thing, but then, like, okay, the Deadeye's in a good position. We jockey for some corner position, but the Reaper just destroys our barrier instantaneously, right? Deadeye comes out, and it's like, okay, we get results. This is when the team should be moving in. This is where the team should be going forward. How do you hear a Doomfist with all that? You get used to Doomfist has a very unique sound. It's like the G, and then, like, rah, rah, like, that's a very unique noise. So that's how you hear the Doomfist through all of it. Train yourself to listen to it, because you want to hear him. Because when you do, and when you spot him out, he dies super fast. Anyway, this is when the team should be going aggro. And I know you're, like, running into a Reaper, but he doesn't have ult. We know he doesn't have ult. And this is when the team should be pushing onto the point. The D.Va should be facilitating that by using defense matrix, but yeah. Everyone just gets stuck up here, and then, like, it might be their D.Va moving people back slightly, but honestly, like, they should have been just going aggro at this point. Because this is bad now, because your team is outnumbered and outgunned, and they have a Reaper on the point, so... Hey, the gold McCree could be coming up big. Waiting for that. I'm looking at the kill feed. Miracle of Science. Robin 1AA1 managed to get one. Ghost Ginger gets him though. Ghost Ginger going big. He's getting the kills. Hasn't been touched so far. He's moved towards the point as well. Hey, it's all working out. Yeah, the history repeats itself. Reaper ults in exactly the same place he did earlier. So there was one thing I will comment on. Okay. This is like the third or fourth time we've jumped in without checking on where we've landed. Like, you jump in, and I want to go back to a specific frame, because this frame should, like, scare you. So we're going to go back very slowly. Ooh, we're going back in time. Woo! Now the frame rate of the stream doesn't matter. Hey! Right? This is a scary moment. Can you see how scary this is? Okay, this thing in the way is kind of annoying. This is kind of where we want to be. Like, as you're going in, you want to do, like, a survey as quickly as possible. Like, this moment here, I think, is the scariest. Because this is a Doomfist and a Reaper. Okay, I'm in the way. All right, right. Can you hear me? Hello. Yes, I can see the sound thing bouncing. Hopefully, you can hear me. Like this is a Reaper. Okay, trust me. He's here. He's scary. Then this is Doomfist, and then that's Moira as well. Hello, Moira. Okay. So yeah, we want to give a shit about this now. Then. We're in kind of a rough patch, but we're already dropping the barrier on top of them. So we're going to land about here. The best thing to do here will be to turn, put your back up against the stairs here. So you actually want to be like going up the stairs, not like... If I draw the stairs are like here in three-dimensional geometry. So we want to be like up here, you know? We want to be able to move back and away and create some space for ourselves. So like moving this way and then just damaging onto all of these guys. Damage, 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 damage. Okay, that's what we're looking for. Instead, we just land and we sort of put our back to everyone. And we seem to have this habit of this where we lose track of where all the threats are. The thing with Winston's gun is this. The more targets Winston's gun hits, the better it is. Like, there isn't like a diminishing returns. It isn't like 50 damage to everything, or to like total. It's 50 damage per target. So if you're hitting 2 things, that's 100 damage per second. 3 things, 150 damage per second. It's really good. So if you can hit 3 things at once, you should be hitting 3 things at once, because it also... And crucially, builds up our ultimate faster. We could have had a bit more ult charge. Wouldn't that be nice? That'd be pretty cool. Every little helps, you know? As the price. I'll also mention now, while we're on the interim, like, if you are worried about Orisa and learning Orisa and are worried about your aim with Orisa is 90% about... where you put your crosshair. Like, that's where the difference is made with Orisa. That's where you make those... The difference between, like, a good Orisa and a bad Orisa is more, where does the crosshair go? Rather than whether it's specifically... And, like, when I say that, I don't mean, like, oh, yes, it means, you know, you have to, you know, let's say Genji's head does, like, bounces like this, and like this, and like this, and Orisa just has to lead the target, but follow this exact track. No, that's not really how it works. It's just a matter of, like, putting the crosshair here, putting enough damage there at the right time, and getting some crucial hits in. That's where the difference is made, and, like, where you're putting the spam, where you're directing your spam, that's how you sort of start getting value out of Orisa's gun. Especially when you're learning how to do it. That's where you're going to find most of your strength. It's just putting spam in the right place, wearing down barriers, hitting large targets. That's how you get value out of Orisa. Not hitting mobile, agile things. That's not how Orisa works. She's too slow, she's too cumbersome, she doesn't work for that. So don't worry too much, and especially on Sanctum, like, Orisa's a very, very good hero to pull out. Okay. This is, again, a scary comp. So I like our fear. The one thing I'd say is, if you see a comp like this, okay, so, like, we poke our nose in, and we see, okay, Jesus, like, okay, first and foremost, like, that's quite scary for us, okay. And it's like, we see a Reaper as well, it's like, oh, what do we do? Oh, I'm playing Winston, I'm against a Roadhog and a Reaper and a Reinhardt, what do I do? The first things first is you don't engage this way. We need to engage somewhere where we can exploit line of sight. What we should do is actually jump over to this side, and use this wall, okay? This wall here is a really good wall. I like this wall. No, let's really make this a friendly wall for everyone. There we go. It's got a smiley face. Okay, this is your friend, the wall. Okay, everyone likes this wall. Because what you can do is, on the opposite side of it, you can play Winston, and you test the cannon around. That's a tester cannon, by the way. It's not a penis. And you start doing damage, and then if they start chasing you, you back away, and you're safe. Isn't that cool? I think that's cool. And you can do good damage, and you're trying to just bait them and flush them into a fight here, and you can sort of, the D.Va can keep you alive, the D.Va can be effective here, rather than being stuck in this position where we're at now, which is just basically a huge funnel. And the funnel, that's a problem, because now we're just stuck in front of Reaper and Roadhog's guns. Ah, this cough. It's so irritating. So you notice, like, we can't get near them, because going up the stairs is like certain death. So we should be making our way around to where we can start using the wall and using that line of sight effectively. This is bold. Lucio saved us. It's very nice of the enemy Lucio to do so. More Lucios will be doing this, by the way, as the change on PTR comes through. You notice the moment we get out into the open, we just die. Yeah, that's kind of how this team comp works. You're going to have to play more like slowly, and then just play around the corner, poke around the corner. Try and abuse those line of sights better. Let's take a look at their team comp for a moment here. How else do we die? By the way, when we're using these moments, a good habit to get into is to keep an eye on stuff like this. Check your team's ult charges, and then think about what their team's also doing. Excuse me. So yeah, this is a scary team comp to fight as a tank, by the way. Like, this is difficult to beat as a tank. So, you know, if you are a new tank player and you see Roadhog Reaper, that's scary. The solution, believe it or not, is not to swap off Winston. Because if you swap off Winston, what are you going to do? You're going to go Reinhardt? And that's going to be even worse. Like, you're going to fare even worse against this on Reinhardt. So, Reinhardt is the answer. Orisa, a bit too slow. Like, you can maybe get there, but by the time you put a barrier down and you actually get to that position, the Reaper, Roadhog's already destroyed it. Reinhardt's pushed through it. Like, it's not going to work. So, Winston, still probably your best bet. Still probably your best bet here. The big thing is just playing those sightlines. Now, your team should be disengaging at this point and setting up for a re-engage. The worst thing that they could try and do is, like, force some ults at this point. I'd say you definitely still want to play to this side, to this flank. Okay? This is a funnel, okay? This is, like, super important for everyone to understand that this is a funnel. There is no, like, all of this space here is, like, death. So be very, very careful in this space. Is there a good way to teach yourself where good ground is? Just sort of think about where you can be, where you feel safe, where you can survive. Like, it really does boil down to that, and, like, general rule of thumb is terrain is good. You know, terrain that blocks damage is good. I'm sorry I went a bit quiet there, I was just sort of thinking, considering. I appreciate what we went for there. So McCree's making a push, everyone throws in their ultimates. I'd say at this point, because there's no, like, you would be okay just running more this way and dropping the barrier, like, here. Like, taking about 2 steps to the left and just dropping the barrier there. All you need, like, the cool part about Winston barrier is this, okay? Like, this is this guy. This is Ghost Ginger. We'll call him GG. Ghost Ginger's over here. He's dead-eyeing. He's doing his thing. He's got his cigar. Again, not a penis. There's the smoke. And then there's, like, us. He's a big blob. And then there's, like, the bit of terrain here. I should not have used yellow for this. Yellow was a mistake. Let's go to pink. Okay, so there's terrain here, and then there's, like, the point here and stuff like that, and then there's, like, the pillar here, and there's a pillar here. Right, all we really need to be thinking about, and I'm going to use blue now just to blow everyone's eyes out, all we need is a bubble between us and the threats. And, like, the best way to do that would be to just line it up with this and just have it here. So then any threats, like, they have to be, like, all the way up against this wall to actually hit the McCree, but the McCree can hit them. So that's not going to be, like, an option. Like, people are going to hide behind this pillar, they're going to hide behind this pillar, and they're going to try and stay out of that line of sight, so they're going to be here and here. So all you really need to do is cover this angle as quickly as possible, and then get back into the fight. Managed to get one. We face plant into the ceiling, as Winston's are wont to do. Mercy goes for a cheeky res, and manages to get rid of it. Just good. Nice. Very nice. Overeager with jump. Works out regardless. We'll talk about that jump. Let's talk about that jump.
Welcome to Overwatch, Monstering.
Sulak, hey Sulak, thank you. 15 months. Bloody hell, that's a long time. Okay. Give that man some home hypes. He's earned them. He deserves them. Right. So, whole hogging, blowing people away, scaring people. Constant threat, annoying, scary. Messi goes for the res, we get the Reinhardt. This is the moment I want to hear. No. Okay. Soldier 76 is just tactical visored. You're playing Winston, you have Primal Rage. You can actually do a lot about this. You can also really fuck it up and kill everybody. I'm fine with us using the Primal Rage, especially here. The big thing here is to just not jump. One of the hardest things to learn, and I struggle with this, like, I totally get it, I 100% get it. When playing Winston and Primal Raging, not pressing buttons. Like, you want to just, like, hold mouse 1 and jump all over the place and jump off cooldown and bounce all over. Sometimes the best thing you can do is not press buttons. And the best thing you could do is just run forward and then just start knocking the Soldier 76 away. And just focus on, like, bouncing that Soldier 76 back and back and back and back and back. And, like, don't worry too much about doing anything else. You just want to feel like he's going to go, I've got you in my sights. And he, like, gets all the cool readings and then his face just fills with the gorilla. He can't do anything. So, yeah. That's the result we're looking for. What we end up doing instead is we end up like jumping away. It's like, oh god, oh there's a soldier, and then you sort of abandon your team. It's like, Winston, where did you go, mate? We need you. Just be careful with that. Just be a little bit careful. And also, what will happen is if you jump over people and you turn around, you give soldier like a pat on the bum, and then he's like launched into the team and kills everyone. Done that several times myself. Never feels good. Slurp of coffee. Genji has apparently spotted the enemy. It's good for him. So we are honestly fine playing this corner. Okay, barrier down. Actually, why is our barrier on cooldown? What? When did that happen? Okay. This is actually kind of a big deal. Don't do this as Winston. Do not do this as Winston. Kind of a very big deal, okay? The reason why this doesn't work as Winston is because let's just look at how effective this barrier is. It's like they're starting their push, you drop a barrier here, and while they're advancing, the time it takes them to cross from here to get to here, the barrier's already been destroyed. Is there any difference between the barrier being here and like people poking out a little bit, firing some shots, and then instantly having to hide away, or people just using line of sight, using our friends the wall? You know, hello, wall. It's super friendly wall. Like the walls are good, guys. So yeah, is there any major difference here? What would be really nice? Like, let's compare this. Oh look, it's just destroyed instantly by the Roadhog. People didn't really have a chance to do anything with it. Imagine if we had a barrier now. They're engaging. Now we can use this barrier and use this, like, create a space for ourselves where we can actually just jockey back and forward and do some damage, juke a couple of shots maybe, and actually be an active participant in the fight. So the important, like, this is where you need the barrier. At this moment when engagement begins, you drop the barrier and then you have a lot of strength. D.Va dropping the ball more than anything. Might get a single res here from the Mercy. We should just be playing for stall here. Do avoid using lots where possible and go from there. Mr. Coach Pepe. Thank you, Mr. Coach Pepe. Thank you for the bits. It's appreciated. Awesome. Dragon becomes me. We're dead. Okay, it's fine. Do not panic. I see in the chat someone mentioned like, oh, Orisa would be great here. I kind of disagree. The reason why I disagree is I think with Orisa you would have never taken the point. So, like, this is actually very much worth having because this kind of decision making is very important, okay? And this does somewhat come down to opinion and taste, but in my mind, with Orisa, you would have never taken this point. Why? Because, you know, let's take the situation where we have now, right? You're staring at the point, they have a Reinhardt barrier here, Roadhog and Reaper. On the approach, where do you put the barrier? Where do you go with the barrier where you can actually get something done? Do you put it back here? Well, then the Roadhog just right-clicks it a couple of times and it dies. The soldier just shoots into it. You have Genji and McCree. There's no way that this barrier like gets you anywhere. By the time you get to the point, they'd already be on 90%, and then you'd slowly be crawling forward, losing barrier after barrier after barrier after barrier after barrier after barrier after barrier. Like, it doesn't work. Either that, you go super greedy and you throw a barrier here, well, then it just gets destroyed instantly by Roadhog and Reaper. So the Roadhog Reaper really screws you up, actually, on the Orisa. The advantage of Winston is that when you start the engage, you start the engage. You go in and you're engaging instantly. It gets you places quickly. It lets you grab some land very aggressively. Tony V, thank you. Tony V 6815, welcome. Good having you on board. Beautiful use of that Twitch Prime. No, it's not even Twitch Prime. Oh my god, I'm so used to Twitch Prime. It's just a tier 1 sub. Thank you so much. Right, anyway. So yeah, like the nice thing about Winston is you can use it to take space here aggressively, and then if you're in trouble, you can just bounce out and you're safe straight away. So it gives you these advantages. Now, when you're on the point, then sure, Orisa will be great, but it's that getting to the point and taking the point and holding the point, that's where it gets difficult. And I think the danger with the comp that they're running, especially because they have a Lucio as well, I think, is they can just run at you and kill you so easily if you're playing the Orisa. So I just think realistically, like, you're going to have a really difficult time. Like, no matter what, this is a difficult team to fight for a tank. No matter what, this is a really difficult team to fight for a tank. So again, I just say be very careful about engaging on the front door. Oh, hey. Spot out the free soldier. Like, this is a better engagement path, you notice? Is annoying. Oh, okay. Let's use this as a learning example, okay? I want you guys, don't look at me, I know I'm handsome. Look at our health bar over that way. Keep an eye on the health bar. This is a learning moment. Reaper connected with what? 3 shots? Like some of them went into the barrier. Let's go slow-mo so everyone can follow it. Let's count the bullets, okay? 1 shot connects, 1 into the barrier. He misses. 1 into us, 3rd into us. 3 shots. Downvoted, so yeah, I've been having issues with frame rate. I don't know why. I'm not in the mood to restart it anyway because it'll break the VOD as well, so it's frustrating. So yeah. Okay, so yeah, the Reaper is just devastating. Do not ever underestimate Reapers. Go early with this. Go early with this. Yeah, for some reason it's dropping frames, and I don't know why. I can actually, like, I'm tempted to just, like, the only part is if I do this, I don't know what happens on your screens. Let's go over here. Let's see. What is eating up all my CPU, at the very least? Streamlabs, Windows Desktop Manager.
Welcome to
Chrome?
Overwatch, Monster.
Chrome shouldn't be that bad. That is a lot of memory on Chrome, though. Thank you, Timothy, by the way. I don't know why it's dropping frames. It feels like more of a bandwidth issue for some reason, and I don't know why. I hate my internet, guys. Hopefully you all hate it as much as I do. Okay, we use the primal rage to get back. I appreciate the decision to touch here, but the big thing to realize at this point would be, okay, D.Va's sort of got it. Although, yeah, no, I actually just, yeah, go safe on it. So we're trying to fight to stall and survive here, but this is going to be difficult because their team comp, like, once it's on the point, their team comp is very difficult to remove. Very difficult to remove. Very difficult to deal with. So stream, I assume? No, actually the VOD's okay. The VOD is at, it might be 30 FPS, but it's fine. The VOD's actually decent quality. Like, I should be low frame rate, so it's annoying. Okay. Team's doing okay on the comeback. Nice. Feels bad, man. What I would say is this, okay? Like, your email made it sound really like, oh my god, my Winston's terrible. Ah, my Winston's so bad. My Winston's awful. It's not really the case. What I would say is, A, Genji sucks against their comp. Genji's really, really bad against a pack of heroes with high survivability. Like, the moment they get low, they have so many ways of surviving and get out of jail free cast that it's just not going to work, okay? So the Genji's going to have a really tough time. Like, consider this. When he Dragon Blades, who's he going to kill? He's going to go for the Soldier 76, who's going to sprint and heal and rocket and run. So he might get the Soldier. The Reaper, who's going to Wraith form. The Roadhog, who's going to self-heal. The Reinhardt, who's just going to beat him to death. The Moira, that's going to fade. The Lucio, that's going to speed boost and boop him. Like, nothing here works for the Genji. So yeah, the Genji has a really, really, really tough time with this one. So, like, you think you had a bad time, but, you know, the Genji is just, he's having... He's blushing. So yeah, the Genji's not going to do well. So yeah, that was kind of inevitable. Then there's the other factor of, yeah, like this is a comp just built to ruin tanks. So don't be too disappointed in your performance. The biggest thing I'd say is, again, like most newer Winstons, it's that ability to exploit sightlines and the ability to exploit terrain that makes a Winston great. Like, if you watch the pro Winstons, they are very calculated about where they jump. They are very, very precise about where they are ending their movements, about what they're doing with their movements, where you land your jump, and then how long you're there, how you get out, where you go to, where you get healed up, stuff like that. Like, it's very, very pivotal. The other thing is just keeping track of threats is, like, the biggest thing, especially when there's, like, a Reaper or a Roadhog on the field. You absolutely 100% have to sort of dedicate a bit of your brain. Like, if your brain's a processor, dedicate one of the cores to just, where is Reaper? Where is Roadhog? Like, you've got to have this constantly in your head of where are these heroes? Because if you don't, if you lose track of them, they will destroy you in seconds. And so you end up in moments like this where it's like, we could be hitting 3 targets, but instead we're hitting 1. And we turn around and suddenly, like, our team is all getting killed. And, like, you see how low some of these people are. Like, this guy's super low. Reaper could have taken a bunch of damage. And like this fight in particular really, really kills me inside because it's like, if you watch where we finish this fight, I think it's like on 90 ult% charge. Just a little bit more damage. Yeah, 95% ult charge. We could have had a primal rage there. You know, could have had a primal rage a lot earlier, to be honest. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Shield too early as well, slightly. It's not the worst in the world. Like it's a bad habit, one that you should nix. So it's worth bringing up. So I kind of agree. Let's see, the thing loads in. This is actually a really bad habit, so it's worth mentioning. Which is this motion here, where you jump. Don't be fooled by the animation. So actually, yeah, this shield is much too early. Nicely spotted. Do not be fooled by the animation. Because the animation has like this long, like, oh, he's holding it and then he like puts it down, right? It has this long animation. It doesn't actually work like that. When you press the button, that's pretty much where the shield drops. It just like plops out of Winston. So like Winston does his jump and like he's here, right? And you know, this is Winston. This is his Tesla cannon. Again, not a penis. The moment you press the button, it just plops out of him. Don't be fooled by like, you know, the animation looks like it finishes like when you're over here. And you think, oh, where's my bubble? And then you look at it's like behind you and you're like, what the frig? That shouldn't happen. Be very careful about that. Just get out of the habit of dropping it on your way in, because it looks like you're going to drop it on top of these people, but you've already dropped it behind you. It's kind of a dumb animation mismatch. It's kind of a problem. For some reason, I like drawing faces on things today. Right. It was a very short VOD. It's like 12 minutes. So we intentionally did a short one because I didn't think I'd have much time, but we got through it pretty quickly. We can take some questions, actually. We have 20 minutes. It will probably be bearable as well to take some questions. So I'm gonna load into Overwatch. I'm gonna stare at Winston, dancing the twist. If you have questions about tanking, about Nepal, about Winston, about your love life, don't ask me about your love life. I can't help you. Look at me. But yeah, can we go through it again? No, not with the issues we have. Not even for you, Makanen. Not even for you. You poor bastard. Tell you what, can I actually just do this and like get chat fancily appearing on screen? Chat should just start popping in the screen. Hey, there we go. So I'm gonna turn the sound down. I'm gonna go look at Winston doing the twist. Come on, baby. Emotes. Twist. Beautiful. Right. Let's get him looking at us. There we are. Okay, nice. So, crunchy or creamy? Creamy. That shield drop sometimes helps because you can be on the edge of a shield instead of the center where you can't hit people outside the shield. It can, but in general, like I'd say, like if you are in the habit of just dropping the shield and you wonder like why you always land out of the shield, that's why. That's why. Okay, this doesn't work because then people can't read the questions while they're on the screen. So I'm going to do this instead because it scrolls too fast. So I'm sorry. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this, so that this pops up, and then I'm going to turn this off, so it's not in the way. There we go. So that people can see what I can see, which is always nice. Feelings for my totem. I've tried approaching it. It almost seems like it's an inanimate object. I'm really into it, though. What do? If you're really into it, then just make a move, and if you get burned, it's a sign you probably shouldn't be doing it. Please don't actually do that. It's a toaster. You're going to hurt yourself, okay? Beautiful. Why does Stage 3 have an additional playoffs team? Oh, no, that was changed. It took me a while there. So they changed how the playoffs worked. So yes, they're going to have a full bracket. Rather than having the top 3, they're going to have the top 4. He's talking about the Overwatch League, if you're curious. Hey, look, it's in 15 minutes. We have 15 minutes to fill. Right, schedule. Standings. Schedule. Playoffs. No, week 5. Okay, yeah, so Stage 3 title matches. So normally, previous seasons, it was like a best of 3. Excuse me. It was like a 3-person playoff. Why isn't that up? Stage 2, thank you. Stage 2, week 5. So like it was like third faces second, and then whoever wins that faces first. What they're doing now is I think they're doing a bracket where it's like first will face fourth and second will face third, and then whoever wins from that will be in the final. It gives I think that's how it's going to work. It makes it more interesting, makes it a little bit more exciting. It's a little bit less confusing because that system, like, even though it is pretty simple, it still confuses people of like how are you having 2 games but there's only 2 teams or only 3 teams. How does this work? Like, it's not that complicated, guys. But yeah, you have, like, it gives a little bit more excitement. Like, having 4 teams, I'm fine with, especially as the league expands. That's going to be good for the league because there's going to be more teams in season 2. So yeah. People don't want to play main tanks. How can we improve this aspect? At the moment, tanks are like, that's actually a very good question. In general, by the way, just a good piece of advice: use @ESL OneAmongstMany. You can see how much easier it pops up, but I managed to catch that one. It's a very genuinely good question. Now then, I am well documented as being in favor of role queue. I think that role queue would solve a number of issues, and you might see more people actually being pushed towards tanks if the tank queue time is just better and people still enjoy playing tanks. As DPS queues especially bloat and inflate. But what I would also say is, like, at the moment, tanks feel quite bullied because basically 2 anti-tanks got buffed. Junkrat is still very strong. And like now they see on the horizon, well, Junkrat's getting nerfed, but it's a very small nerf, and now Hanzo's getting buffed again, or like buffed in a number of ways. And we'll be spamming, and we'll have even still an ability to blow tanks up, and like pressure barriers like crazy as well. So it's like, oh my god, this still isn't going to be good for us. What do? Tank is a frustrating role as well. There isn't really a good way to incentivize it aside from just trying to make tank more fun. Like, honestly, that is the best way of doing it. But yeah, that's it. And what I would like to see, being honest with you, what I would like to see, like, I know that you said main tank, but I think the off tanks, I think, like, every non-diva off tank just needs, like, a bump. And I think Reinhardt just needs a bit more, Earthshadow just needs a love tap, just making it a little bit more reliable and a little bit more useful. Let's get rid of that as well. On Nepal, should you switch to tank comps each point, or stick to what you're most comfortable with, even if it isn't meta? It's a very wide-reaching question. What I'd say is this: it's a balance, okay? What's meta on certain maps is, especially, like, it's more specific maps, so certain maps are kind of outliers and have very set metas. Good examples are Sanctum on Nepal, for example. So, if you're on Sanctum on Nepal and you can play Orisa and your friend can play Roadhog, play Orisa Hog. It's a good idea. You want to be doing that because it gives you a very powerful option that can just instantaneously win you games. So that's very, very useful. But if you can't play Orisa for shit for some reason, don't do it. You know? Don't do it. You could do it and, like, just practice it and try and learn it and try and develop on it, but it's like, if you just are that much more comfortable on Winston, play Winston. You can absolutely play Winston on that map. Just understand how to play Winston on that map. Like, Winston on Sanctum is tricky, okay? Because Sanctum is like a big square. And, like, this kind of relates. So, like, this is the pit. Okay, this is the pit. Then you have, like, the stairs here, stairs here, stairs here. You've got I've drawn this wrong. There's the stairs here as well. Sorry. Ish. Okay, you get the idea. And then you have, like, the walkway around it, and then you have, like, this courtyard area here with, like, a big thing in the middle of it, and, like, this outside area. This outside area is super important as Winston, because what you can do is you can try an aggressive play. And you can jump in and, like, take position up here if you're feeling super aggro. Do not do this in current meta is what I'd say, because you're probably jumping into Orisa, Roadhog, and Junkrat. You want to play very fucking carefully if you're playing against that team comp. And that's sort of why you're seeing that team comp a lot, because you just set the Orisa, Hog, and Rat up, like, back here, and just bounce damage into them and wait until someone dies. So just, like, it's very difficult to do, but it's a balancing act, right? If you are God's gift to certain heroes, as long as they aren't ridiculously niche, as long as the entire enemy team isn't hard countering you, you can probably get away with playing it. And especially in gold and, like, platinum, and, like, if I can make one change to the global consciousness of Overwatch players, it's that in plat and in gold and in diamond, it's like diamond somewhat, but in plat and gold especially, meta does not matter at all. Or, like, not at all, but it's less important than people think. And I find that, you know, I've had accounts drift through Platinum before and, like, rise up through Platinum. And I find that Plat players are, like, universally the most anally retentive and the dumbest players on the planet when it comes to meta. Where they will just go, oh my god, you have to play this comp, or we'll lose. And it's like, no. The comp you're referencing is generally like a dive comp or like a sniper comp or something. It's like this very high skill, high tier comp that won't work in Platinum because your Tracer is not Dante, your Tracer is not Prophet, your Tracer is not insert any Tracer player here in the Overwatch League, Munchkin, Striker, name some. Yeah, it doesn't work as well. Sabiolbi, like how did I go through a list of Tracers without naming Sabiolbi? Okay, so it's like the world is different there. Like different things work. Soldier 76 works there superbly. Soldier 76 is amazing in Platinum. Reinhardt works fine in Platinum. Winston works fine in Platinum. Orisa works fine in Platinum. So you have these options available to you. Just build decent team comps. Like that's the only thing you should really be worried about is if you have Orisa, Tracer, Genji, that isn't gonna work too well. Try and solve that. But if you have Orisa, Soldier, Widowmaker, that honestly could be quite good. Okay, that honestly could work out quite nicely. So just deal with that. Basically, it's it's a frustrating thing. Stream is extremely laggy. I know. I can't fix it. I wish I could fix it, but I don't know what's causing it, and yeah. So you just played a team with Reaper, Hog, and you still want to play Winston versus them. When would you not pick Winston? It depends on the map. Like, the thing with Nepal is you can generally get away with the Winston, and the issue is, like, you say, oh, well, they're playing Reaper, Hog, don't play Winston. What I would say to that is, are you going to play Reinhardt into it? Like, that's not going to work any better. You're not going to play Orisa into it, so, like, Winston's fine into it. It's just, it becomes more a matter of how you play, not what you play. It means that as the Winston, what you can't do is just go rah and jump in and go, I'm going to beat you up. Like, that's just not going to work. You have to be cleverer. You have to sort of use line of sight. You have to find where the Reaper isn't and then find opportunities to do stuff. You have to work with your Diva to get covered and to do damage with that. You have to work with your McCree to set up flashbang kills on the Reaper. You have to do, like, work as a unit and as a team to get stuff like that done, because if you're just playing Reinhardt and walking into it, all the Reaper and Roadhog's going to do is stand behind their Reinhardt and just blast you away. Something that could work superbly in that last game, for example, is if the Genji swapped to a Junkrat. Okay? And then suddenly you could just spam into that team comp and you would outspam them from long distance. And then the moment that they start taking damage or they start dropping low, you jump in, you play aggressively, and you start seeing kills because, hey, the Junkrat's just putting damage in. Their team comp can't do it because they don't have a long-range good answer to stop Junkrat just sitting back and spamming into them. The change there needs to come from the DPS, not really from the tanking. The tanking needs to change its style and be more careful, but it's not a matter of, oh, they're playing Hog Reaper, you can't play Winston. They're playing Hog Reaper, you need to play longer range, or you need to just not be where they are and then try and abuse that, or try and stay out of their sight as much as possible. That's where the change comes in. And I think if you're trying to brute force them down as Reinhardt, like Reaper Hog, just tear your barrier down in 2 seconds flat, and then you're just stood there going, and you're a big immobile, slow dumbass who's going to die repeatedly. Orisa's kind of in the same situation. What do you do if your best friend looks like a merge of JonTron and Josh Peck? Take a picture? I don't know. I don't know what Josh Peck looks like. Josh Peck. I'm out of touch, guys. It's a fellow Josh. I know what JonTron looks like. This is what Josh Peck looks like. Oh, it's Drake and Josh. Okay, that guy. I can see what a merger might look like. It's just basically a fatter version of him. I don't know, to be honest. I can't help you. I'm sorry. Okay. Zarya getting buff would be an indirect Rhyme buff. Kind of. Yes, it would help. Earthshadow is fine. It'll be really good in the upcoming meta. Earthshadow has just consistency issues that annoy me. Winston's legs look really funny in the skin with the frame rate. What do? Deal with it. I'm sorry, I can't fix it. And Zen, what target should I charge orbs versus not? Thanks. Very good question. The trick is this. The DPS shift from orbs is not enormous. There is an actual DPS shift, however, but it's like When you're in close range, holding down left click is actually more damage. You're charging orbs not to do anything super clever. You're charging orbs literally, like, the way it works is, let's take Hanamura point A, okay? Just bear with me while I do some, actually, let's try, I think I've tried this before, Hanamura point A map. Okay, I've struggled with this in the past and finding a good map for this, but it's worth doing because, you know what, let's use this really complicated one. It is a bit of a cluster loving, but we'll explain it. Stick with me on this, chat. Stick with me. This is the main gate, okay? This is point A. This is someone who's made a 3-dimensional diagram. I think this was made actually before Overwatch came out. Like, holy moly. As Zen, you're normally like set up here, right? You normally set up all the way back here. Let's use red or magenta. Right? You normally set up back here, okay? This is where we are. And what you're doing is you're just holding right click and putting orbs through this sight line. At certain times when you think that the enemy's going to be crossing this path, and you're occasionally getting a dink, you're occasionally getting a kill as they try and advance in, that's what you're doing with those right clicks. The moment something engages super hard and actually engages you in this close range, that's when you're just left clicking. Because you're doing more damage, there's no point charging right click and trying to burst them down. You don't actually get any benefit out of that. What you want to be doing is just left clicking and trying to hit as many headshots and targets as you can. So doing that is gonna work a lot better. So in general, it's not a matter of like what targets, it's more what am I doing at the time. Are you just passively putting threat through sightlines? Okay, you should be right clicking, charging right clicks, and the way you do it is you charge right click, fire right click, reload, and then do it again. That reload is important. Sometimes I'll get sent coaching footage of Zenyatas who will like right click and then fire, and right click and then fire, and then they get engaged on it. It's like ding ding, oh shit, I've got no balls. I've dropped my balls, and then you die, and it's bad. So don't be that guy. Reload after every single one. It's more about where you're putting it, where the enemy's moving, and then creating a zone for them that's dangerous. That's what you're looking to do. It's a suppression technique, not really a focused fire technique. And this is why, like, when people say, oh, but Hanzo and Zenyatta have very similar projectiles, I get very frustrated, because Zenyatta is providing suppression and support. Hanzo needs to be killing things, and Hanzo providing suppression is frustrating and spammy and annoying. So, yeah. Because where I'm from, sitting in the meta in gold and plat seats swirling around the toilet. Wait. Plat and gold have a meta, it's just a different meta. That's why I'm such a negative Nelly all the time. Because from where I'm sitting in gold, gold and plat, swirling around the toilet. People, like, what I noticed when I was visiting plat very briefly and sort of nipped up through it was that people were just like, no, we have to have this hero and this hero. Like, people were really anal about that. And honestly, it's a mistake. I think it's a mistake. The one thing I'd say is, like, you tend to take it very personally when stuff like Genji gets nerfed or stuff gets buffed against Genji, because you see it as like, oh, well, they're trying to shut down the top 1% tracers. The reality is the tracer in gold and plat is not... The reasons why Tracer is effective in Grandmaster are not the same reasons why Tracer could be effective in Gold and Plat. And so the 300 damage change to Pulse Bomb is actually going to have less impact in Gold and Plat than it would in Grandmaster. Because in Grandmaster, the 400 bomb normally turns into pretty much instantaneously a dead tank every single time. That's the big deal why. Well, in Gold and Platinum, very rarely do you see Tracers get Pulse Bombs and kill tanks with them super reliably. And so the nerf doesn't really have an impact in that regard. In Gold and Plat, people are much more likely to try and go for bad bombs and then miss them and then just not do anything. Damn, Josh, you're so behind. I'm working on it. I mean, there's not many questions, so there we go. We're about done anyway. People I see in Plat are just really anal about wanting to play DPS, that too. So yeah. It's, again, I would like to see roll queue. I think it would solve problems. It would solve a lot of problems. So hey. Well, just came back hoping to catch your stream and saw that you chose me. Enjoy the VOD. The VOD might be less laggy. Hopefully the VOD's less laggy. Now's a good time anyway to do stuff. And yeah, Brigitte frustrates the shit out of me. I want to see Brigitte nerfed. Okay, guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass you over to Overwatch League. This is going to start very soon, 3 minutes time. Thank you everyone for coming by. We've got a lot of viewers actually at the moment, so thank you everyone for stopping by. Do drop a follow if you're interested in seeing more coaching content. Tomorrow we're going to be doing Probing the Many. It's going to start at 10 o'clock British time. That's in 1 hour from now. So whatever time it is now, at an hour. That's when I normally start. That's when we're going to be starting probing the many, which is when we look at a pro level game. We might look at one of the Boston matches, so could be good. So yeah, we'll take a look at that. If you want to send footage in, absolutely please do so. The information is below. It's also in the Twitch chat at the moment, so send it into oamreviews@gmail.com. Include the hero name and the rank in the title. Include if you're a Twitch sub or not. Twitch subs have slightly higher prio. Nomison, who isn't actually a Twitch sub apparently, but has been a Twitch sub in the past, he's a long time viewer, so I saw his name, I was like, yeah, okay, let's do Nomison. Why not? It's a short VOD as well, and I only have a little bit of time, so hey, pretty good. So yeah, thank you so much, guys. I apologize for the poor quality of the stream in terms of its production. I don't know what's going on with that. It's out of my hands, unfortunately. But yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. Enjoy